I'm Ashley Lackinger, and this is LadyBoss, a web series where I interview women in, from, and around Chicago, making a difference in their community, our city, and the world. Today's guests are Barbara San Ramon and Dianne Martinez, co-owners and co-founders of Recycled Barre, a dance studio in Chicago that's goal is to make dance more accessible and affordable to the city. Today, I'm going to talk with Dianne and Barbara about what it's like to own your own business, what their inspiration for Recycled Barre was, and how they've partnered with other lady bosses to make Recycled Barre a reality. And here we are. Thank you so much for hosting us.
Thanks for coming.
No, my pleasure. So this is Recycled Barre.
Finally.
Yeah. Awesome. So is it okay if we kind of walk around a little bit?
Absolutely.
Great. So I had to ask, what was the inspiration for Recycled Barre?
Okay, so Barb and I were teachers at the local high school, and we had a dance program, and most of our dancers did not have access to formal dance training in their neighborhood. And Pilsen's such a thriving community that we just thought, why isn't there anything here? Let's create something here.
So it was like a need out of the people that we were around, the close, family, friends, students that were with us, that we need places to go like Recycled Barre that offer dance classes and fitness within the community.
Yeah. So then, having that idea and then actually having a class and opening it are two totally different things. So can you walk me through? So you guys talk about it. You have the idea.
Yeah.
What does it look like from where that was to that first class? What is that process like?
It's been about 2 years now. So Barb called me over the summer. It was like in August, and she says, let's open up a dance studio. And I was like, you're crazy, but okay. And that
is literally the phone conversation.
You're nuts, but I'm in. 100%. And then we just kind of started. It started off real slow, so it was kind of like, what are our contacts in the dance community? What are our resources? Where could we pull from? And being both CPS teachers, a lot of the schools are being closed down for under enrollment, so a lot of the spaces are empty, not to mention just in our communities and a lot of South and West Side communities where we have these abandoned buildings. So Barb said, we don't really need a ton of money. Maybe we could just recycle underutilized spaces, and that's kind of where the name came from as well.
Okay.
Yeah. And then from that point, so it was a lot of like us talking to people, us meeting with literally just setting meetings with anyone and everyone that we knew within the dance community, anyone that we knew that was currently in business, where could we go, us picking up books and learning and learning through the process. After the initial idea phase, we started rolling out what is our mission vision, really just creating a brand. We talked to Jenna Blazevich, which you guys are going to be working with.
Her.
She does all of our graphic design and stuff, but really we just wanted Recycled Barre to come to life. And when we had that brand and logo, we're this is beautiful. We need to just put it everywhere. Started getting our name out there.
So that was kind of the fire that set it off.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It was our vision came to life, and we're yes, we can create this brand. We always talk about how we build out Recycled Barre as a brand, and not as just your mom and pop we love dance and then we're gonna open up a dance studio. We always talk about Recycled Barre it's nationwide, and we just opened our first storefront.
In our heads, it's
everywhere. I was going to ask, so
abroad.
So before you were doing, it sounds like you were doing pop-up locations around kind of high schools and schools where there were open space. At what point then after that did you feel the need for the brick and mortar space?
Well, I think working within an entity like Chicago Public Schools, it became a little difficult to kind of, especially us two being teachers, it became difficult to run out of schools, and because we're such. I don't know, it's such a weird...
Is it almost too close to home?
It's too close to home, and it's just a conflict of interest, I think, for,
the space or the time.
Exactly, and whenever they're closed, we're closed, and they need security, etc.
So it sounds like that was kind of born out of need, too, is you're doing it in high schools, and then you want to have more control over the schedule, over the actual location. So then how did you come up with this location? Because, like you said, both of you are full-time teachers. So kind of where did you find the time, and how did you even know what it meant to buy real estate?
There was a lot of is this still our mission? Like if we build out a brick and mortar, like if we have a storefront, is that still true to what we're saying? So I would say like at the end of the day, we always go back to that initial like, just take like the amount of time that we took to build out Recycled Barre and just us talking and like whiteboarding and like really building out what we envision this, like we always go back to that moment and like that, those documents that we like put together that didn't mean a lot then, but mean a lot now, that like this is staying true to who we are. What do we want? What does that look like? What does this mean to the community? What does it mean to us? What does it mean to Recycled Barre? And then like we had that conversation again before signing the lease for the storefront, and we're like, is this still true to Recycled Barre? And like Dianne said, like at the end of the day, it is. We're still creating access to dance, to fitness within a community, and within the community that we wanted to start in, which is Pilsen.
So I was going to ask, is that the goal of Recycled Barre, to not only be in Pilsen, but then be in other neighborhoods that have a lot of underutilized space? So whether it's Lawndale, or I know like West Loop has a ton of underutilized space.
Absolutely. I think at the core, it's just to provide dance to people who might not have it. So even if we end up, being in somewhere where that might have access to like a lot of fitness studios, I still think dance as a art is very like, it limits a lot of people. Like a lot of adults who always wanted to dance feel intimidated going to a dance studio. So it's just to offer dance to everybody and to let people know like dance is for everybody. Everybody is welcome. It's not, even though it might be perceived as like a very like elite sort of like hobby, we kind of want to change that because dance changed our lives. So we wanted to impact, everyday people's lives.
No, totally. And so then how did you even find teachers or find people to come to the classes? And I mean, do you guys pay those teachers? Because I know that a huge goal for you guys is making the classes affordable, because dance can be really, really expensive. So if you guys don't mind me asking, how does the money side of it work, and how did you find people?
Okay, I can talk about how we found people, and then you talk about the money. So we partnered with Columbia. I had an amazing instructor there, Darty, and Barb also knew Kelsa there. So we both knew instructors at Columbia College, and they were amazing. So we partnered with them, and they, let us come to their classrooms and talk to people. And we told that their classrooms, like our mission and vision, and people fell in love and started, applying with us. Now we have now we're official, so now we have like an application process online. But that's really how we recruited our first 8 instructors. And
were dance students through Columbia?
Yes, so recent graduates. And Loyola. So it was basically like talking to recent graduates. We really wanted to foster their growth as instructors, simultaneous as our growth as a dance studio.
Now I think it's good. It was really difficult the first few months of like, we're not gonna go to the studio. Like, like it was that kind of like you leave your child at daycare and like you're gonna go home. Like, okay, no, I'm just at home now, and we're not at the studio. They're running it. But what that has done is let us actually build out a brand, build out a business, and we've built a lot of our like systems and operations and like training processes now that we have that experience of it's not us like, okay, I know what I'm doing, I know what I'm doing. But that's like teaching other people,
we're able to
working with other people.
More now that we have like a staff. And we're able to. It allows us the time too to just do other things like build the brand and perfect things on the back end. Just our Squarespace, our QuickBooks. Like it's just allowing us to streamline everything just so much better.
As far as the like compensation for instructors, our instructors get paid $30 an hour. For every class that they teach, essentially. And then we're just this session, we started in March? We're starting to transition. We have an intern from Columbia that's phenomenal. And then we have one of our instructors that's taking on more of like an administrative role and transitioning her to a more like managerial studio manager position. So our end goal is to be almost like a coffee shop style, one room schoolhouse style dance studio. So like throughout the city, we just like, it's not, Recycled Barre is this like huge 2,000 square foot facility, but it is more of like a, 500-ish, 300 square foot place where people can walk down the street and just like I said, like go get a cup of coffee, you can go and take a dance class, take a fitness class in underutilized spaces.
And not feel like intimidated, and it's completely affordable. Most of our classes are $10. The only like $15 class we have is like, if there's a special event, so like we have a house class and there's a DJ, So that's like an extra cost, or, you know, if there's something like special, walk-in classes. But most of our classes are $10. We do student discounts. So if a teen, you know, local high school walks in and they can show us an ID, then their classes are $5.
Awesome. So then, I mean, because like I said before, you guys are both full-time teachers, and you didn't study business.
Correct.
So how did you even know how to set a budget for this? Because I feel like I wouldn't, and I know so many people out there who want to maybe do something like this, or, you know, even want to start their own business and they feel like, I'm not qualified, I don't know what to do. How did you learn that?
Barb made me read books. She gave me like a stack of books and was like, can you read this, please? You need to read this. But Barb like found out a lot about sales through her boyfriend.
Okay.
And I would say like it really is more of learning through experience at this point. There's a need, like just like Recycled Barre was like, there's a need and then we have to fill it. It's almost like you're a parent and you have to figure it out. Like at some point you don't have a child before and you have to figure out how to be a parent. It was a very similar experience for us. And with Recycled Barre, as Recycled Barre grew and started growing, and if you told us in November we were going to have a storefront in March, I'd be like, you're joking. You're lying. Stop.
No, we won't.
I'm gonna cry.
But here we are.
Yeah. It's amazing. Like as opportunities pop up, we're like, we have to go. We have to move. Like we have to learn as we go. And we're both like very different in the way that we approach business. Like she takes over everything that's like organization and like
I
our
do
payroll
like all
and
of our
books.
payroll. So I did. I worked for Gino's East for almost 10 years as an office manager. So I'm very familiar with like, you know, payroll and like, you know, managerial sort of stuff on like the, you know, back end. So I do like a lot of the back end stuff. I do all of our payroll. And
Like more like the administrative operation.
Yes.
And then
back of the house, front of the house is the way that we
and
describe
Barb
it.
does like a lot of the social media.
With our instructors. So it's like we run Recycled Barre. We've gone to like as many like entrepreneur breakfasts, like brunch things, just like learning from other people. Before we even had a first class, like we talked to as many people as possible, and we're like, this is what we're thinking about doing. This is, you know, like, is this even possible? And a lot of what our conversation was about was nobody really understood what Recycled Barre was. And they're like, what do you mean you want to just have dance classes?
Bear?
Yeah.
Like, people still don't know how to pronounce names.
And it's okay. And it's like, you know, it's part of us being on social media, or us being in, like, just having conversations with people and having them share our story and having them come in for a free class. Is we just talk about Recycled Barre being an experience, and that being, you know, you're coming in here, you love seeing people that you've seen in class, you're building community.
Okay, so I just have to say how cool it is. I know that we had to do a quick location change, but literally what you just spoke about is people could pop in and just take a class, and that's literally what just happened.
Yeah, that's actually what motivates us. It's
Okay.
Like, whenever it gets hard, just having people, you know, come to our class, seeing our class is full, or seeing like good reviews on Yelp, is just like, oh, it's just so rewarding. Like Barb will take screenshots and be like, you know, it's
At
very,
home, we're freaking out.
Well, I was gonna say that probably helps. You know, when that voice inside of you is saying to give up, and then you see no people need this, that's probably what helps you guys get over it. I said, I know so many people out there, women and men, who have these dreams and they're sitting on them, and whether it's because they don't feel qualified, or they're afraid, or they feel like maybe they're not allowed. And it sounds like you guys all went through phases of that. What is your advice to them so that they can take that first step? You know, whether it's being an entrepreneur, or maybe they want to be a part of Recycled Barre, or open a dance studio. What is your advice?
Like, it's okay to start small and then continue to grow. And that doesn't mean that you failed. It just means like this is your starting period. And also like just take that first step. Like I think it was terrifying, and it will forever be terrifying. But like live in that moment and enjoy that moment, because that quickly goes away, and then you have something else to do, and then you like I can no longer be scared. You can't be scared of that first thing anymore.
Start small, dream big. I feel like
Barb's
a big dream.
It's such a good quote. Don't be afraid to start small. It doesn't mean that your big dreams aren't happening. That is the first step sometimes.
Make it reality. You have to start small, and that's what we're doing now. And you know, we have visions of growing and like being everywhere. But I would say that, you know, starting here and starting within a community and learning along the way, like you don't have to go to business school. You don't have to, go get your MBA. You don't have to go.
I think that's so
be
important.
Like a writer.
I want you to repeat that.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to do those things. You have the permission in yourself. It sounds
exactly,
like.
Exactly. I love when you said that earlier. Like that we were kind of like denying ourselves that permission to be
Yeah.
like, no, you can actually do this. Like you can do this. You don't need to go to school. And I feel like when people, and I can say this because I feel like this was us, like we need to go do something else before we start. Like that's just continuing to push that fear and like letting fear win is creating these like excuses for yourself. And I say excuses because I know that I use excuses to not fail, like because we're scared and you don't want to go, and then you're like, well, I have to go take this class before I do anything, or I have to do this. Yeah, we don't have a ton of money. We didn't start with a ton of money. We actually started with, so our school that we work at, we still run the dance program for our youth 9 to 12th grade. So the school got a grant, and then we were basically just getting paid for like after school programs. Okay. So we never saw those checks. We just dumped that like extracurricular money into Recycled Barre.
So we are paying out of out of our pocket. And
that's how we started. But it's like you don't need to go on Shark Tank to go open your business.
Even though we really want to go on Shark Tank.
Oh my God, no, I'm obsessed with Shark Tank. I want to watch it on a regular. Yeah, you don't need like $100,000 investment to open your company. You can start with a couple hundred. You can start with a couple $1,000. Whatever you have, just use that. Start small, dream big. Like you can work off of that, take that next step, continue moving, and then fully see your dream like you see it, maybe in 10, 15 years. But
or maybe even in 5, or like you said, if someone asked you in November if you would have had a location.
That's very true.
I just want to thank you both so much. This has been so awesome. Thank you. And so if people want to find out more about Recycled Barre, they are on Instagram at Recycled Barre. They are on Facebook as Recycled Barre. Their website is
recycledbarre.org. And both of our emails are on there, and please email us. We'd love to talk to you. Meet other lady bosses out there.
Absolutely. And their location is in Pilsen at the corner of Carpenter and 19th. If you liked this, we are LadyBoss. Please share us on Facebook. We're on Instagram and on YouTube. So until our next episode, thank you so much. Thank you.